Sharmesh, Danka, Koshy sir is joining.
Okay, all right, Karthikeyan. We have 1 minute to go, so we'll start at that point.
Right.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. We'll just take a minute more and then we'll start. Good evening, everyone. My name is Uttanka Sharma. I head the alumni office at IIM Bangalore. On behalf of our alumni relations office, I welcome you all to this webinar on the ONDC, which is very much happening and hot topic of discussion in the country's discourse right now. ONDC stands for the Open Network for Digital Commerce. And to talk about this significant initiative, to take you through some of the live cases in terms of how a buyer or a seller or a technology partner can work with this ecosystem, we have two alumni with us. We have Mr. Thampy Koshy, who is a PGP alumnus of 1989, and who is also the CEO of ONDC. And we also have Karthikeyan Arumugham, who is the founder of DIGIiT. And DIGIiT is a ONDC partner network company. And he is also incidentally an alumnus of our executive education program. So with that, I would hand over the stage to Karthikeyan and Mr. Koshy, and over to you.
Hi, Udanka. Thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity to share our things with ONDC. We go with the introduction. Koshy sir will go through the introduction about ONDC, and later I can cover a couple of use cases. Then we can open for the fireside chat.
Hi, Karthik. Koshy here.
Hello, sir.
So we'll start now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So I assume that you'll be giving the full details about how the whole thing,
right,
works and how people can take advantage of it. Let me just give you a quick introduction. Is that the whole idea of open network for digital commerce, as you have heard just in the introduction, and you'll get the full details, I understand, from Karthikeyan, is that the objective is to essentially what we call democratize digital commerce. The fundamental shift that is expected out of this establishment of this open network is that it will cease to be proprietary platforms of few entities who have very high amount of market concentration, whether it is in India or whether it is anywhere in the world. This happens. So what we expect is that the open protocol that enable unbundling of the building blocks of transaction and making them interoperable will significantly encourage very active competition based on what these entities have to offer, than based on some captive audience you have managed to get based on whatever policies or discounts or special incentives given and so on and so forth. So this is, in that way, we expect that there will be unbundled building blocks of commerce offered by agencies or entities with specialized know-how. Probably, the buyer application will be handled with a focus to be a buyer's agent and not to push a seller's product. Or a seller application might get developed to help the seller to be, expanding its market and manages, probably even working capital credit better, and then try to sort of captivate some audience based on some unreasonable or unsustainable incentives. Or probably logistics would be done by the specialized logistics entities and so on and so forth. So this is the kind of fundamental shift that is expected to happen. Going beyond a PowerPoint presentation, we have been, as a team, been able to work with multiple entities who have already joined us as seller applications or buyer applications to begin with, and many more are in the active stages of onboarding. So we have started a pilot in 5 cities in 29th of April. We started expanding that into multiple cities to have very basic presence and doing transaction only with a select list of buyers not open to the public. As of last week, we have now taken the next step of making it open to public at large in Bangalore urban, to essentially experience the real-time experience from the field. And we expect that this journey will continue and will see a broadening of participation from the seller side, buyer side, domain going beyond grocery and food, and to have fashions, electronics, beauty products, and travel, tourism, B2B, B2C, all of them. So essentially, our vision is that eventually the idea of open network will expand the space of commerce so that anybody who has any product or service to offer will be able to make it digitally visible using this open protocol for the specialized buyer agencies or buyer entities to help them to, sort of stitch them together and make it available to interested buyers. So that's a big picture introduction I wanted to share. I'm sure Karthik is planning to have a detailed session on the nuts and bolts and how people like you can actually participate and take advantage of it beyond just satisfying the intellectual curiosity of a new idea like this. Over to you, Karthik.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for the quick introduction, sir. So I think your camera is disabled, so you can enable it now. You got the access now.
When I tried, it was disabled, so that's why I didn't.
Yeah, I think. Can you try it now, sir?
Yeah, I made you co-host after that. So yeah, now you're with it. Yeah.
Earlier when I tried, it was not there, so I thought it was meant to be that way.
It was a Zoom thing where until I made you co-host, yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Ranka, can I share the screen? I'll take few PowerPoint presentations.
Yeah, absolutely. Please go ahead. While Karthikeyan is sharing the screen, let me also request all the attendees that in case you have any questions, you can use the Q&A option given in Zoom, and Mr. Koshy and Mr. Karthikeyan will take those questions as we go forward as well.
Yeah. Thanks, Ranka. Right. Okay. Today I'm trying to keep entire discussion in 4 sections. The first section we will go through the overview of ONDC. The second section I just given some glimpse about say DIGIiT network participant, how we build their platform. And third one I will take it a couple of use cases which are real use cases happening in the ground. And the fourth one is we can see some live transaction. Then we can open it up for like a Q&A. So fine. Let me just put DIGIiT. I just give you one 1 minute or short discusussion about the DIGIiT. We are enabling business to build a platform business. Currently, we are working with ONDC and then ULIP as well as the backend for enabling a couple of open network initiative. Let me directly get into the ONDC and the foundation. ONDC, I think you will all hear about that. It's a kind of democratizing the commerce, and then it's creating a huge opportunity for every player to play a bigger role. So it sits in 4 pillars. The first one is inclusivity. How do we do the inclusivity? The bigger one we can break into the small things, like unbundle the things and then bundle it again. If you do that one, then there is a lot of opportunity for many players instead of one player playing everything. When you unbundle it, whatever the unbundled piece can be played by individual players. So that's on the first pillar. The second one is the interoperability. Instead of keeping it as a closed one, if you're keeping it as open, and then if it is interoperable between the different platforms, we can take it as an example of how our like in the telephone spectrum works. Airtel, Jio, and the other one, right? So they all use the same spectrum, but they have the different infrastructure, right? So similar way, ONDC is an enabler, it's a network, and then with that network, anyone can join, and it's interoperable. And then the third one is the discoverability. Since it's giving the inclusivity and interoperability, this also enhances the discoverability. Earlier, if you want to discover a product or service, then they need to depend with the closed network. So that means that the visibility or discoverability is limited that closed platform, right? And now, since there is inclusivity and interoperability, the discoverability is wide open, and that also lead into the scalability. So these are the kind of four pillars ONDC found out. Then the next one, this one I have taken a reference from our earlier discussion with ONDC. So ONDC as a network, if you look at it, the top side, you can find the buyers, and then the bottom side, you can find sellers. And all the transactions are the digitally signed transaction, digitally verifiable transaction. And sellers could be in different domains. If you look at it, supermarket, and then these are the retailer, and the other one is the logistics provider. Similar like that, it could also enable many other domains. Currently, retail and then logistics is enabled. However, going forward, this could enable travel, hospitality, and mobility, like that, many domains. So that means it's creating a wide options. Whoever can play with the seller with the one domain or two domain, they can easily come here. And then, as we discussed earlier, it has the four pillars with that they can play around, right? And also it provides the additional services. So it's giving the registry and the network policies to govern the things to register the ONDC, right? And then also it's providing the reputation ledger and then open data ledgers and then interoperability, network operability, feasibility, right? And then payment also it's coming in the future. And also if you look at the left-hand side, there could be another network that can join in this one, like Ocean or ULIP or any of the other networks, similar like ONDC can join into this one. Right. So I just going to give you a kind of like a pictorial representation of how the ONDC is going to work. So you can consider this as a network layer. And then this network layer have the governance policy, which is controlled by ONDC. Anyone have the compatible platform to the ONDC can join their platform into the ONDC network. So once they join the ONDC network, they can onboard their sellers as a store 1, store 2, store 3. So that means that stores are visible to the ONDC network. So once that will be done, similar like the sellers, there could be a buyer side. Currently, I have taken a Paytm as the example. So Paytm also have the buyer side platform. Since they have the buyer side platform and they have the option to make the stores which are available in the platform here to be visible here, right? Then if that is the case, the sellers from their platform can see the stores, right? And this is going to be expanded. So similar like Paytm, there could be a PhonePe, and then PhonePe also do the same thing, and these stores will be visible there as well. And similar like ICICI Bank or any bank, I just put ICICI as an example. And similar like the bank and then Paytm, there could be a marketplace operator who are currently operating like a large marketplace operators, right? They could also come and then they could also take these stores into their platform, right? So if this is the seller and buyer, right? Two-side network. And the ONDC not stop there, right? It's also providing the additional service, right? So if you look at it, there could be a payment provider. They can come as a value added service provider. We call it a VAS. So similar like that, it's a network of participants. It's called as a network participant. So the network participants with their product and services, they can connect to the ONDC. And the ONDC govern the compliance and then the policies. All the network participants need to adhere the compliance and the policies. Once that will be certified, then they can put their sellers into the network. So once the seller put into the network, so that can be visible to the buyer side. And then similar like that, there could be a value-add service provider, logistics, and then payment. they can also provide their services to the network participants. So this brings about the overview about the ONDC. I'll quickly touch base the DIGIiT side. What we are, it's maybe I quickly go through this one. So this is just we are as a company, we provide the strategy consulting and then platform and then operation framework and ecosystem integration. We have 6 platforms, all are certified with ONDC. And then I just want to spend some time here. So if you look at it, ONDC started the journey. I think Koshy sir can give them the exact timelines. I think it's a 2001 January or something, sorry, 2021 January or something. And then 2021 October, they started accepting the participant, and DIGIiT honored to join as a early participant. We joined in 2021 November as a contributor to the ONDC backend group. We also contributed a few things to the ONDC backend group. Later, I think it's a 2022 Jan something, there was a hackathon. We participated in the hackathon and demonstrated the demo. Later, around I think April 28th, we gone into the pilot. DIGIiT is one of the company gone into the pilot out of 4 or 5 participants. So it was 5 cities initially selected: Bangalore, Delhi, Shillong, Bhopal, and Coimbatore. And we ran that pilot for some time, and it was a huge success. We onboarded a good number of sellers and buyers, and then later started the expansion. During the expansion drive from May to August, so expanded along with us. There are a lot of other network participants. They all expanded their reach. As a DIGIiT, we have currently expanded to 5 states. And then September 30th, we all gone into the beta testing. The beta testing currently happening in Bangalore in 16 pin codes. So this is the second section I want to cover it. This gives a glimpse about the journey. And here I want to spend some time. I'm going to share 3 cases. The first one is agri-value producers. I just want to give the overview. You can see agri-value producer across the country. And most of the agri-value producers are associating with those like agri promotion institutions, which is promoted by the government or NGOs. And the biggest challenge what they're facing is they have a few number of products. They don't have like 100, 200 products typically. They have only 5, 10, or 20, less than that only. And the biggest challenge is market access. They're associated with the agri promotion institutions to get the market access and getting some kind of the guidance to promote their product, right? Since their product quantity is less, they're having the challenge. They cannot be a retailer because they cannot open the separate shop for 20 products. And they cannot be like a B2B seller because their exposure to the business is limited. They are very good in producing the products. So they can sell it in their local market only. So that is a big challenge. How ONDC helping them, that's we putting there. As a network participant, we are also supporting there, right? So the first thing is we created the awareness between those groups, and we requested them to onboard into the ONDC and start sell their product in ONDC, right? Since it's the cost of doing the business, that means onboarding is absolutely, it's a negligibly less. So, and then also they can quickly get into the ONDC, right? So they're happy to onboard it and then start selling it to their local communities. Even though 1 or 2 products, the products are good. So they find the good market for that one, right? So then the next one, since we are aggregated 50 to 60, we also requested them to come as a collective, like instead of selling a 1 or 2 product, we create a store with all the aggregated products. Currently, it's close to 600 to I think 800 products. Yeah, it's close to 1,000 products, right? So now they have 1,000 products and then maybe a 60 to 100 value-added producers, right? Now the buyers, right? Consumer finding the value. So now they are going as a retail store. And also now they're approaching the B2B business to take the bulk orders. And the next one also, what we are requesting them to do is, actually we are doing it currently. since Bangalore is opened up as a live or beta testing for the public, right? So we're requesting them to bring their products. We are arranging the warehouse for them in Bangalore. So now they are bringing their products to Bangalore and then selling to the Bangalore consumers. And the results, if you look at it, right? So earlier, maybe 4 months, 5 months back, they were selling it separately. Now selling it as aggregated of close to 1,000 products. They are into the online in short time, and then their cost of doing business is very low, and then they are paying very less commissions. And also now they are finding the many channels. They are selling it in their existing channels, and then selling it in the ONDC, and then aggregated as a retail online portal. They are selling it there. Now they are selling it in Bangalore as well. And also the another beauty is DIGIiT as a network participants, right? We are supporting them to handle the operation. So if you look at it, right, all the participants, including DIGIiT, and then including the the value producer, and then the agri promotion institution, right? Everybody is getting the benefit. And then the next one, what we are trying to do now is there is a good demand for agri input commerce, because now almost all 60 to 100 people are under business are related to agri. They're also looking for the agri input side. So we are trying to enable that as well. And that will also come into the ONDC once that domain will be enabled. So the next case, this is an interesting one. There is a small group of employees. They were working for a last mile delivery with one company, and then they came out and then they started a small business, and then doing that last mile delivery in their city. It's a city specific only. And currently they started 6 years back. Now they've grown very big. That means significantly big. They have 80 plus delivery agents, and they have the 10 staff to manage the operations. Now they are realizing that there is a big opportunity since they are almost created a very good brand, and then they reached having a good number of customer base in their city. They want to go beyond logistics. So they're trying to aggregate the products and then sell it to their customer along with the logistics. And logistics also, they want to take the additional orders. So incidentally, they are part of one of the ONDC pilot city. So when we are doing the awareness program, we met them and then we discussed with them and shared the opportunity about the ONDC, and then they understood easily. Now they are joining ONDC as a logistics provider for that city alone. And then also what they're trying to do is they have the connection with the smaller business, right? They are trying to aggregate those products and then bring it into their side. So they'll be kind of a like an aggregator for the products, also providing the logistics. And then they're getting the DIGIiT support for the technology side and then operation side, right? So it's currently in the very early stage. We are giving the training and then we are getting the operationalization of their things. Probably they will take the pilot orders and then start doing the testing once the integration will be completed. And the last story I want to share, it is a Mumbai-based multi-store or outlet. They have more than 10 restaurants, and then they have the plan to open, I think, 20 or 30 more restaurants. But the big challenge for them is 80 to 85% of revenue is coming through their online portal or online food aggregator. And of course, there is a big portion, right, that's going as a commission. And they don't have the control on the delivery. They want to control the delivery to enhance the operations. And the other one is, the other big problem is they don't have the access to the customer data. Even though they're in a market for a good amount of time, they don't have the access to the data. And that data, customer data, is very important for them to grow into the next stage, right? And also they are into the outlet, and then they're doing the online and then mobile. Everything is disconnected. So now they are looking for like kind of leveraging the ONDC to streamline or to strategize this business. So the first one is the ONDC. The commission is significantly less, so that will cut down their like the commission, which way they are spending it. So that's the first one. And the next one is the, since it's unbundling and bundling, can give the control over available services in ONDC. That means they can codify the, like a logistics provider. They can have the discussion with the logistics provider, and that they can choose the logistics player they wanted, so that they can have the control over the whatever the service they are going to deliver it. And also, since ONDC, it's the transaction is digitally verifiable data. Whatever the customer they're giving order to them, they can keep that data, and then that gives some kind of visibility. And also, they're getting our help to unifying the entire channels operations into one platform. So currently, we are working with them, verifying the business case with the strategy and objective and roadmap. Actually, the idea is at least get a 20% of the traffic through the platform which we are going to build for them. And probably we'll start the POC shortly. This is the third case. And this is a demo. I just want to show it. Uranka, I want to access it from my mobile and then share it from there to show the demo.
Okay. Right. So even that idea I have made co-host, so you should be able to.
All right. Okay. So should I stop it here because I don't have the option to share it from? Okay. Yeah, I do that.
Yeah. There are already a lot of interesting questions also pouring in. So after the demo, perhaps both you and Mr. Koshy can take those questions as well.
Right. Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay. All right. So this is the Paytm application. Within the Paytm, you can see ONDC. So ONDC, I'm going to select retail because the client I shown, right, Fresh On, they're the Bangalore-based client. They're participating in the beta testing. So if you look at it, the Fresh On, they have total 944 products. I just take this one. Looks like I have already added a product. I'll delete that one. Oops. Okay, looks like I need to close the screen sharing to open that. Let me stop the screen and then do the transaction, then come back. So I completed my transaction. So my order is processed. And currently the order will goes to the seller, and DIGIiT also have the centralized the order management team. They will monitor the quality of the service. And they will accept this order and process it and deliver it. I think it's a next day delivery. Yeah, tomorrow they will deliver it. I think I completed the demo as well.
Right. So probably both of you, would you like to take some of the questions which are coming in? You can click on the Q&A. I could also kind of spell it out, but probably you can yourself click on the Q&A button on your Zoom and you will see the list of questions. There are 20 currently.
Right. I think the first one is slides will be shared. I'll review with you, Udanka, then we can share it. Maybe some of the content I need to remove it, and after that we can share it.
Sure, you share it with me. I'll pass it on.
Right. The next one is so the from my point of view, the major takeaways, right? The awareness is very important. And also what we are seeing in the ground is there is an adoption, there is a traction already there. Since unbundling started with UPI, now in the kind of the visualization of the entire ONDC, relatively easier. And also what we are trying to do is we are creating the like a small group, and then within the group we are introducing the like a ONDC and giving the training, and then get them on board and then do the successful business with the ONDC. That create the very good like visibility and insight about the other groups as well. I think the challenges initially we are facing is yeah, the challenge, since it's a kind of unbundled, the logistics is provided by the separate player, and then the payment is separate, and then everything is a separate, like getting that into the streamlining the operation. That's one of the biggest challenge we are facing. That, however, now it's a streamlined compared to the pilot. Now we are finding easy. Koshy sir, you want to take something, sir, from there?
Is there any particular question that you want me to answer, Karthik?
Sir, there the question is, what are the major operation challenges do you foresee in the ground level implementation of more scale?
No, the challenge that we will foresee, and we are trying to develop a network with broader participation, is that technology is something that, like, protocol and technology is something that's already there. Okay, and there are more and more reference application and service providers are coming, who is sort of making it available for diverse set of market players to take advantage of. But in addition to that, each of those entities, whether it is a seller application or the seller, more specifically sellers, especially when it comes to small and micro enterprises, they have to develop certain good practices to be a part of a larger community. And to help them do that, they should have good processes. Okay, so that is going to be a matter of process discipline that we'll have to continuously encourage to the broader cross section. And thirdly, like other thing where the technology innovation is going to help is, for example, whether it is a buyer platform and seller platform, as we go into more and more rural areas, we need to get innovations happening to make regional language, Indic language support is happening, both to help the small buyers and sellers. So those kind of things will take probably some more time for easy adaptation of these kind of tools. But the confidence that is there is, since it is an open network where even innovations coming from small enterprises will have a sustainable model with multiple platforms looking for these kind of support services. I'm sure that this will encourage, development taking place in this segment too. So these are the kind of short and medium term challenges that is there from a business, from the ecosystem partners point of view. And for the larger ecosystem of the users, as we explained earlier, would be to develop, broad-based trust among a larger cross-section of the potential users from big cities to small towns. Because as of today, if you look at the digital commerce penetration is only about 6-7%. As it go from 10 to 15 to 20 to 30%, we need to have a mechanism in place for them to, feel comfortable, not just whether it is possible, but we feel comfortable about the and feel comfortable and trust among this large cross-section network. So that will be a challenge on which all this ONDC and the participants will have to work together.
Thank you, sir. Priyanka, you want to take other questions, or you want to go through it? Maybe you can.
Yeah, let me do that. So the next question is actually from some of our, I'm presuming, young MBA students at IIM Bangalore, who are saying how final year students or fresh grads can associate themselves with ONDC, or
There are multiple ways they can participate. One is that, there will be, of course, natural opportunity shaping up among network participants and ONDC is the, join as a team member. Otherwise, like I said, it encourages innovation, especially a lot of startup innovations possible, because even as a small enterprise, there is still sustainable business model that may shape up. So that could be another, interesting opportunity for youngsters to experiment on their entrepreneurial drive and excitement.
Right. The next question is from Hari Prasad, who's asking, in order to provide a level playing field for the MSMEs, is there a plan to include options for supply chain finance as part of the ONDC initiative?
No, there is nothing called ONDC sellers. What could happen? But very interesting and important question that we said is that one thing that is going to happen when we have more and more small enterprises joining a part of the network, and this will ensure that a significant part of their transaction will be digital, can be digital. And when you have digital transaction, which is sort of digitally verifiable, digitally signed transactions getting built up, it gives an opportunity for them to reach across for what you call flow-based lending. Because today, if you look at most of the banks and financial institutions drive their lending based on asset P&L and balance sheet or any physical asset or the individual's commitment and so on and so forth. Whereas tomorrow, when you have more and more digital transaction, that sort of will significantly enhance the flow-based lending. In fact, linking along with the account aggregators and open credit enablement network, etc., are going to open up this one. So eventually what I expect to see is that in the wholesaler retailer equation, the primary driver is going to be what is the product the wholesaler want to sell and the retailer want to buy, not the credit offering by the wholesaler. Because credit can go into the people who are experts in providing the credit. So that way it enhances the opportunity both for the wholesaler and for the retailer. These are the way in the next few years you would see the whole supply chain undergoing restructuring.
Right. So next is a question probably Karthikeyan you could also answer. Subodh is asking, what if some central organization has multiple stores across the country? Will they need to register as different sellers for each store, or how's the structure?
Yeah, this is really interesting because we are handling with a couple of multi-store operators. Actually, it depends on how is their organization structure is aligned. For example, if they are keeping the books separately and then want to keep everything as a separate store, they can do that as well. However, if they want to take everything as a one like a store, and then based on the pin code, they want to deliver the products, they can do that as well. There are multiple options are available as we discussed, right? It's about unbundling and bundling. And also within that, the transactions are can be granular level controlled based on the pin code, based on the geographic, based on the accounts, based on the product, right? And then based on different criteria. We need to understand the existing business model, and based on that, we can propose the most suitable one.
Okay, thank you. Saikat has a question. He's saying, I read in the news that in case of food delivery business, the user data will be shared with restaurants if they join as a seller. Now, this is, according to him, positioned as an incentive over other food techs, which don't share user data with restaurants. So will, as a consequence, data security and privacy issues not be there?
This is the concept about the open data is keeping everything so open, right? And then you more than marketing based, here it's a more on the trust and then quality of the service based, right? And also the ONDC have the clear compliance and policy requirement. It also covers all the data privacy policies as well. And then based on that, right, it is the transaction flow is defined. There is a set of responsibility for the seller platform, and there is a set of responsibility for the logistics providers. So that means it's a governed with all the best practices and then a compliance requirement. So I'm not seeing any data privacy as the concern here.
And one more thing, most important, that is there, take it the other way around. If I'm going to buy from a particular seller, he is the one who has to service me. So he needs to know whom he is servicing. So only to the extent of services that is provided by him, he needs to have this information. So that is one of the reasons, one of the way in which he is also being empowered, who are the kind of buyers who is coming to him. Okay, that is a fundamental point that is there. Today, if the intermediaries just sit on and hold on the data, then it is actually against the competitive interest of each of the sellers. So from that point of view, the making the relevant seller data, buyer's data to the seller who is servicing the one, not for everybody else, makes a lot of sense and relevance. And secondly, now that the seller has the data of the person who buys, because he was also at the service in case there is a complaint that is being taken care and so on and so forth. Then he has to have a discipline in terms of, like Karthik said, how he's using the data for purposes other than the current purpose. And if that is the larger data discipline that is expected from every entity who is collecting any data. And if you think that you do not have the confidence in how those sellers from whom you are buying are keeping the data, then you will not be able to do business with them. But there are guidelines and processes for the discipline. But like I said, the biggest challenge today that comes from that the actual person who has to service a client does not have the relevant information.
Right. Next up, I'll probably combine two questions which have a logistics angle. So the first question is, how do producers pay for logistics? Do the producers bring to the city and then the last mile delivery guys take it from there? So that's question number one. And the second question from another person is, how about self-shipping sellers? Where sellers feel there is high risk of damage in case of handling is done by some inexperienced logistics partners and want to do entire shipment for their business on their own.
So latter part, first one, because if somebody wants to deliver, there's no objection, then he will offer it with delivery. Okay, so there's no compulsion that you use the logistics of the network. So if I'm delivering, if my offer is with delivery, and that's the only way I can offer, I will offer that. There's nothing preventing me from doing it. So that is no issue at all. What is the first question? What are the logistics?
So yeah, it kind of answers, but the question was, do producers pay for logistics? Do the producers bring to the city and then the last mile?
Look at this, at the end of it, buyer pays for the logistics. Okay, it's a question of what's the whole business arrangement. If the producer believes that he can, it depends upon the product and in terms of the market, buyer's interest. If producer deal that from the producer for each of the buyer need to be sent separately, that will be the one, but it has a certain cost of logistics. If he feels that he can, it makes sense. For example, the beauty of an ONDC is enable these kind of flexibility. Let's say I'm a small producer coming out of Trivandrum. I see that there's a market getting shaped up in Bangalore. I'm not so sure. I don't want to set up a separate. I'm small that no specific logistics provider will have a long-term relationship. I don't have a warehousing capacity. So what we would do is I may end up buying a warehouse as a service probably for a month to check it out and get intercity logistics to do a bulk transfer there and then probably get a hyperlocal guy to do the delivery. That's how it will develop. See, these are typical business model and business decision that anybody will take. The beauty of ONDC, it enables these kind of flexibility and options, which otherwise may not be there. Today, in the absence of ONDC, you don't even have an idea of warehouses service. If you are not big enough, there may not be any of the logistics provider who might be willing to sign a contract with you. And practically, when you have smaller orders going and trying to find logistics suppliers is practically impossible. Whereas in the law, when the ONDC set up one, you can turn back and buy logistics as a service because it's available on retail in that sense in the network. And then based on the the quality or the rating of the logistics provider, you may end up taking it. And even other components like warehouses, surveys, etc., are also available. So ONDC increases the option, but does not force anybody to do anything.
Right. Another interesting question, slightly forward-looking one. Are we anticipating any consolidation in the markets now? Example, grocers acting as an intermediate aggregator from small kirana stores and becoming a single point of contact for ONDC?
No, what we are seeing, you are going to see a lot more, not just single point. You'll see many platforms, specialized platform offering for specialized services. See, ONDC, you have all kinds of companies. Like, I don't think there will be anybody who will consolidate from B2B to B2C to fashion to merchants or everything. But on the other side, you will see a lot more, there might be some aggregators coming to bring small players to bringing together and helping them to give some confidence in the facility so that individually they do not have to spend the effort and cost to become part of a marketplace.
Right. A question from Vinod is, how does ONDC help buyers compare different offers from sellers for the same product?
That will be the innovation of the buying application. No? So he will broadcast his search offer, get the response coming, and then now that he has offers coming from multiple choices, it depends upon how you want to help the buyers to help him sort or filter or compare against some trends and so on and so forth. That's the innovation of the buying platform.
Right. Kuldeep is asking, ONDC is one of the most revolutionary concepts ever developed. I wanted to understand how will the competition be taken care of? For example, if there are multiple stores selling same thing over or multiple delivery partners, will it be similar to what Amazon or Flipkart is doing by sponsored ads or something like that?
First and foremost, what is there is in a platform, they know who are the sellers. In a network, you don't know who are the sellers. So who are the sellers who will give the response to your query? Depends upon very much of the product that you're asking for and the terms and conditions. For example, I'll just give an example. Let's say even a simple product like, let's say, atta. Okay, you come and say that I want my logistics guy to go and pick up. Okay, in that case, the guys of the sellers who might be responding will be very different from saying that you deliver it for yourself. Another thing that if you say that I want to do it in the next 2 hours time, the guys who will be delivering will be different from could be even more from the guys who could be delivering in a day's time. Okay, so these are the kind of diverse options that get evolved.
An anonymous question. How do I, as a seller, join ONDC? I am the secretary of a cooperative society. I have my own brand and website for selling products.
So you can get that your platform ONDC. I mean, if there's a reasonable size platform, it makes sense for you to get it, ONDC protocol compliant. So for that, you can join to understand how it works. You can join one of our briefing sessions that we have every Tuesday. Or if you think you want to try it out experimentally to begin with, you can take help from somebody like Karthikeyan, who will sort of help you to jump in first and then eventually decide whether you want to have your own platform or you are happy to use some other aggregator.
Right. The next question probably could be on the mind of many people, and I think it will be a good clarifying answer as well. So Prabhu is asking, what is the part that is being played by DIGIiT? Onboarding of sellers to ONDC can only be possible through DIGIiT or other ways also?
Like I said, the DIGIiT is one of the seller platforms. Okay. There could be many seller platforms. And so DIGIiT is one of the ones who has taken the initiative to get the whole aggregator platform ready. And so that any merchants who want to come jump into the platform without developing the whole thing, he can do that. Or there are other entities like that too. Or they can develop it themselves.
Right. Rajendra Desai is asking, who mediates in disputes among users?
We, like we were saying that there could be, see, you want to have a detailed understanding that we just published consultative dot on, on how to build trust on the network. But coming to a little more specific, if there is any complaint that any consumer has, his first protocol is a wireless platform, who will forward that to all relevant seller and seller platform to resolve it. If it doesn't get resolved, and then it can get moved into dispute resolution system, as per the legal framework of a country. To make sure that this proceeds faster and quicker, we are also developing an online dispute resolution framework and ODR service providers being empaneled, like in the case of banking system and so on and so forth. So that coupled with the digitally trackable, evidence from search to order to digital sign order to delivery proof and so on and so forth, we expect that this will get resolved much faster and more efficient fashion.
Right. Rupak Agarwal is asking, apart from products, what kind of services will come in on the platform? What's the final vision? How will ONDC disrupt in a mature stage?
We expecting that the mobility will come, travel will come, hotels or restaurant, hotels could come, homestay and so on and so forth can come, financial products can come. So we expect both products and services to come.
Right. One question for Karthikeyan, how DIGIiT will support my business to onboard with ONDC? How can I bring my business digital with DIGIiT and ONDC?
Right. As one of the like a network participant, we are working closely with ONDC from the initial days. We can bring them into the ONDC and then giving the handholding support to do the operation with the ONDC. We need to understand a bit more about their business, like a retail or F&B, those kind of things, and then their SKU. If they have the existing website, then there is a different approach. If they're not having the digitized catalog, then we'll support them on digitize the catalog and then get them into that. Yeah, basically they can connect us and then we can work with them in detail and then onboard into the ONDC.
Right. Ashish is asking, are there mechanisms like reviews and ratings plus premium listings to boost discovery?
Network-wide rating is a part of the common facility that will be eventually offered by ONDC, which may come in probably in a few months' time.
Right. A question, a follow-up question on the data security. So ONDC seems to rely on guidelines and discipline. Are there any thoughts about enforcing data security compliance through regulations rather than guidelines within the network?
You know, like we said, each network participants are only have access to their data of their clients. And then the data of how any party uses their client data is also one is the compliance commitment that they're making, and the periodic audit, they have to get it done by third-party audit, etc., to make sure compliant. At the end of it, we are not a regulatory agency. We can only make sure that the network participants adhere to the rules that is given. And the regulatory agencies will, and also to put in checks and balances to ensure that it happens. Like I said, now one of the expectation is that there are periodic third-party audit to be undertaken, whether they're complying with the rules and data security and so on and so forth. Other than that, whether we will go and inspect each of them, the answer will be no.
Right. So with that answer, we are hitting the 1 hour mark. It's also the evening of a weekend. So we would not like to keep either the panelists or our participants waiting. I hope that you had a good enough understanding of the platform and its capabilities, what it can do. With that, I would draw this session to a conclusion. Wish you a very happy weekend, and thanks for participating in the session. Thanks,
Thanks, Udankar. Thanks everyone. Thanks.